On today's show, the guys welcome back important little games designer Bobby Lockhart and talk about a bevy of gaming in education topics. The guys banter it among themselves. We got all that and more up next on EduTechGuys. You're listening to the EduTechGuys, EduTechGuys.com. Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Matlock.
Yeah, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in, downloading, turning on, all that good stuff, man. We appreciate you coming by to listen to the show today. Oh, and man, have we got a really cool guest. He was on about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, to talk about important little games, talk about the game that they are just about to release.
Yep, and
Codemancer.
Yep, and the game that they've created for Osmo. So
yeah.
That's really cool, too. But before that, let me tune you in and turn you on some more and tell you about going to our website at www.edutechguys.com. Heck, just go down the bottom of the page. You're going to find a nice contact form. Reach out to us. Tell us what you think of the show, if you'd like us to do more, or if you'd like us to stop doing it altogether.
That's right.
Also, you can find us on all the social media. Just remember, at EduTechGuys. You go to Google, you put in EduTechGuys, and I promise you're going to find our pretty little faces staring right back at you. So don't forget to do that. And please, please, please like us on the iTunes Store and on Anchor.fm and SoundCloud and Stitcher and anywhere you're listening to your favorite podcast. We hope we're in that list, and we hope you give us a shout out and a like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Helps us a lot.
So it's into school. And
we are rapidly approaching.
Everybody's ramping down.
Except the kids.
Ramping up for summer.
Crazy ramping up for summer.
Ramping up for summer. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. A couple of shows coming up. We're probably going to get really heavy into conference season again.
Yeah.
We find that when we do talk about conferences, because David and I do go to a lot of conferences, and we see a lot of different conferences in a lot of different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of different in their own way. And they're all kind of the same some other way. But
you're so deep and philosophical.
But look forward to us talking more about what you can get out of conferences and what you should be looking for your classroom. I do believe that a lot of teachers are overwhelmed. And, right now at the end of school, that's the big thing now. And it's always been something about the end of school, summer, and professional development, picking up those PD hours and stuff. But it's gotten even crazier. It's like we're going to do all this stuff. And I've noticed a lot of schools just come up with topics sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're going to do this, and 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 Accelerated Reader, and Google Classroom, and, Sphero, and Osmo, and Toto, and I touch the rains down in Africa. It's just it gets all just out of control, and I think the teachers get just as overwhelmed in that PD. And there's what's weird: you do it right at the end of school, and you do it ad nauseum for like a week. Mm-hmm. Then we go, okay, great, so you guys do 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's
you're on your own.
To me, that's one of the things, and I'm not knocking summer PD by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, credit if it wasn't for summer PD, I wouldn't have a job. But like you said, though, at the end of the school year, right at the beginning of the summer, from my personal perspective, that's depending on what the professional development is, but especially if it's tech related, and especially if it's educational technology related directly to the classroom, doing it right at the beginning of June is like one of the worst times ever, just because, it's great information. There's nothing wrong with the information and the knowledge that the teachers are going to get. It's the timing, because now, there's all the other PD that they're doing through the summer. There's whatever time off, if any, that they get during the summertime, and then it's gearing up to come back at the end, in August. So whatever they gained, whatever they got in June, may very well be lost by the time summer rolls around. To me, that's a lot like my daughter's in high school, and she has a teacher who he introduced a brand new topic last week. They're out of school next week, but they had a test on it yesterday or today. And she was like, when am I even I'm not even going to remember this by the end of the summer, because they had it, they went over it for like 2 or 3 days, and then, they were tested on it, and then it's going to be gone.
Yeah, that's
why?
That's interesting.
And we do the same thing to adults.
Well, what's interesting about it is that most schools have a learning management system at this point. Now, it could be anything from Google Classroom to Edmodo or something along that line, Blackboard or one of those things. And what I find, this is just me, my personal opinion on it, is that I find that the majority of teachers in school districts don't know how to use it and don't use it. Mm-hmm. And so this seems like a perfect opportunity to do your week of PD and build those classrooms, build those online learning management areas, those learning areas, and then set just a few nice refresher courses throughout the summer for your teachers to log in while they're sitting on the beach. And so the thing to me that they would learn there is, I just pulled my iPad up. We were at the beach, or we went to, wherever. We went to, the mountains, and pulled it up, and I did my little thing, my little refresher. I took the little quiz, and I chatted with my online community and my tribe, or whatever we want to call it. And then I'll do the next one in 2 weeks. And that was good to refresh myself on that. And I feel really comfortable. And in fact, my homework for the end of June is to build my own class inside our learning management system. And then I know that I'm going to meet up with everyone again at this point, be able to ask the instructor these questions and kind of give them. To me, that would just build it so that when they got back, they're like, oh yeah, I've already built my classes, and this is all great, and I really get this. My kids are going to love this. It
keeps those folks in it. And being someone who works for an education service agency, I think that's one of the things that. And in fact, I've got a meeting on Monday with some of the other content specialists, and I think I'm going to bring this up. One of the things that we need to do as an education service agency is provide those exact mechanisms. I mean, we really do. We need to be able to say, hey, yes, you're going to come and you're going to do the face-to-face, but we're also going to provide an outlet for you where you can go back and review this.
Education.
Yes, exactly. Continuing.
Yeah, that's really good stuff.
That's brilliant. I don't know, and I know we've sort of talked about that in the service agency circles, and I know there are some service agencies
and they might not know how to do that.
Right,
and that's probably what it is. They don't know either.
Well,
because there's the thing: if you're not in a classroom right now, I mean a classroom,
right.
And spending another 16 hours a day on the web, listening to podcasts, watching tweets, following Instagram graphics, you don't know this stuff's going on. Yeah. But we'll talk after this show, okay? I think that's a good idea. Hey, listen, we want to save some time for the show so you can listen to our interview with Bobby Lockhart, because it's some really great stuff on gaming and education. But first, we want to reach out to some of our sponsors and hear what they have to tell us. So you know what? We'll hit some sponsors and read a few lines of sponsor stuff, and then we'll be right back after that.
A few lines of sponsor stuff.
One of the things that I think is pretty cool about podcasting is transcribing the audio into notes.
Yes.
And that was actually pretty hard, but luckily that's all kind of changing. A lot of opportunities out there, and one in particular is rev.com.
Yeah, man. And whether it's a podcast and you want to transcribe that audio into words that you can then post on your blog. Channel. You got a YouTube channel. You can add that to the description or to the captions, on the YouTube video itself.
Well, you're a writer writing a book. If I want to just transcribe some notes, that's a great way to do it. And writing out all your thoughts, it takes too much time. So just take the audio and have it retranscribed. Meetings, conferences. I mean, it's pretty cool because I guess you can get some pretty valuable insights that way by going back and reading through interviews and speeches and anything that you have because you're transcribing it. What do you think it would do for SEO?
Well, I mean, come on. When we're talking SEO, search engine optimization, it's going to add value to your website, to your blog, to your YouTube channel, because you can take that audio, have it transcribed into the words, and that's what the search engines are looking for anyway. They're looking for the words in the body of your content.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Google's going to search it, it's going to pull it in, and you'll get higher ranked based on the content you're just talking about.
Well, and that's true. Like, especially if you want to avoid creative blocks, you can use that to transcribe your white papers and things like that. So really big deal. So, what's really great about that right now is one of our sponsors, Rev.com, has given us the opportunity to offer you a free trial. Right now, to let yourself try for free, Rev is offering a $10 coupon for first-time users. Just visit www.rev.com/blog/EduTechGuys to get your $10 coupon to try out Rev for free now. Hey, welcome back to the EduTech Guys. We're really excited to have our guest back on the show again. We're really glad to see him. We're going to let him introduce himself, tell us who he is and where he's from and all that good stuff. So here we go.
Hey, I'm Bobby Lockhart. I'm a learning games designer or designer of pedagogical games or edu games, whatever you prefer to call them. People have lots of opinions about that, but I am the creative director of Important Little Games, the makers of Codemancer, among other things. And I'm also a game designer at Code Combat, which is the online game that teaches real programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is awesome. So I'm kind of curious. Oh, okay, so let's catch up, right? So for those longtime listeners, first time callers that may not remember, the last time that we had you on, you guys were it was a little over a year ago, and so you guys were kind of hot and heavy into getting Codemancer. I think if I remember right, at that time it was hot in development, going through some of the debugging and I'm not even sure. I can't remember if it was in beta testing at that point or not. But I know you guys were close to that, but a lot of that was on the verge of breaking out. So where are you now with Codemancer?
So the game is done.
Yeah, party time.
Yeah. We are working on a marketing plan and trying to put it on all the app stores just now. Fingers crossed that goes pretty smoothly. There's already been a silly little hiccup, which is interesting. As I was submitting to the Android App Store, there was a concern raised. Of course, I'm trying to make the game rated E for everyone. It's for like 6 to 12-year-olds. So there's no reason anyone can't play this game. Thematically, it's very tame and just a pleasant little fairy tale. So I was surprised to find the game rejected, just resubmitted it in disbelief with no alterations. It came back, so I asked for more details, which takes a little longer.
Sure.
And they came back and said that there's a picture of an old sea captain in my screenshots, and in the game, there's a sea captain who holds a pipe.
Oh, smoking. My gosh, smoking.
There's no smoke. He's not smoking. He holds a pipe, but just that being
could be in that pipe.
Proximity to tobacco.
Yeah.
It is too objectionable for the youngins, so I have added bubbles to the pipe.
Bingo.
And we'll see how that fares.
So you put bubbles on it. Well, that's one way. Hey, that needs to be a new coding shirt. It says, when debugging, if you have problem, put bubbles on it.
Put bubbles in it. That's right.
It never hurts.
So a lot has changed since we talked to you. So give us what's happening, man? What's going down?
Yeah, since then, let's see. I added voiceover to the game, so the game is fully voiced now, which is really great for accessibility. It's something I wanted to do from the beginning, but then sort of got, I don't know, a sense of hopelessness about that process set in, but with no real basis, just because I thought it was going to be more trouble than it actually turned out to be. It turned out to be very painless, and I love working with actors, and I actually did a few of the parts myself. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it worked out. I had a blast.
We're gonna have to get on your list so we can do some voices next time. We'll have to get on your list.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, happily. Like the sea captain actually is modeled after, and now I'm blanking on his name. He was basically John Wayne's sidekick in tons of westerns.
It's not Slim Pickens, but I know who you're talking about. He talks like this. Was a little bit of a whisper. Yeah.
Dagnabbit.
That's him. Have some
coffee.
Dagnabbit, I'm going to stay back here in the jail and I'll shoot Bub next time he comes through the door. Yeah, I know exactly. Rio Bravo is one of my favorite movies.
I'm going to kick myself.
It'll come to me here in a second.
It's at some point we'll figure out who that is and edit his name in so that
there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Not like we don't have access to Google and IMDb and 8 billion other resources.
You know, we always forget that, don't we? It's Walter Brennan is who it is.
Walter Brennan, thank you so much.
He was also the real on the Hatfields and the McCoys, or one of those shows. He was the lead character on that. So yeah, well, that's pretty cool, man. So okay, so let's jump into this. Tell us what you've seen, because you're right in the thick of it. You're fighting the fight every day. Gaming, education, esports. What's your take on all that right now? What do you see happening? What's the good stuff?
Well, I see a lot of teachers embracing games in the classroom a lot more, and even games that are not sort of explicitly educational, just for the sort of side benefits that interest-based learning provides, no matter what the sort of interest is. And a lot of kids happen to be interested in video games, so it's a pretty easy sell,
sure,
at least to the kids.
Right.
To the parents and administrators, maybe a harder sell. But it's happening more and more, which is really great. I mean, it seemed like Minecraft was sort of a wedge that opened the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a lot of other things. So yeah, exciting stuff. The esports thing, I am waiting to see. Basically, there's a lot of toxicity in real esports, in sort of professional esports, a lot of misogyny and all kinds of sort of negative things going on in the scene. So making sure that doesn't get replicated in kids' esports practice in clubs and such, it should definitely be a priority. I haven't seen any of it, and I'm sure that's true of normal sports too. Like,
right. In terms of, I'm going to switch gears a little bit away from where that conversation's going, just because.
Sure.
So in terms of important little games, let's talk about the what you guys are doing kind of at that broader scale. Yes, cool. Codemancer's a part of that, but let's look at the umbrella of important little games, and let's talk about some of the other cool things you guys are doing.
Sure. So actually, we just released a game for the Osmo platform. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Yeah. So for listeners out there who are not familiar, it's basically a stand and mirror attachment that go with your iPad. So you put the iPad in the stand, and then you attach the mirror attachment to the top so that the camera essentially is pointing down at the surface in front of it. And then they have some software that recognize basically certain toys and their position and orientation on the camera view. So, for example, our game Words Explorers and the Tunnel of Treasures uses the letter tiles. So basically, they're like Scrabble tiles, real physical tiles that kids mess around with on the table in front of their iPad, and then the game responds to how they do so. So, the game is sort of about spelling and vocabulary, and you're spelling words and that are sequences of words that are each one letter different from the last.
Oh, yeah.
So in order to sort of dig through a tunnel that contains lots of Aztec treasures, that sort of correspond with the dirt under it. And then once you've spelled the word, gets dug through, and you proceed downwards. And the treasures that you uncover in the sort of boss fights are actual Aztec artifacts that you can see in museums around the world.
Oh, that's
cool.
And there's a little background information about each of those associated with them. So you're learning some sort of deduction with the letter sequences. You're learning some spelling and vocabulary, and then you're also learning a little bit of history too. So trying to hit the bases with a single game.
So I'm trying to picture this in my head. So is it kind of like the TV game show like Chain Reaction, where you're building like the letters from the previous word start the next word, or it's not quite that?
I'm not familiar with that game show.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm old, so
it's like you see a sequence of like a grid of letters, basically. Let's say the first word is cat, so you just spell cat, and then the next word we have like a missing letter, and then so the next word maybe the whole word's missing, and then the word after that is cup. So you have to figure out how to get from cat to cup.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
And cut with a CUT.
Yeah.
In between, because
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not that the letters all tie together. It's that you have to get from one word to whatever word down the list by changing basically one letter at a time in order to get from dirt to path. You would have to work your way through. That's very cool. That's very cool.
So I have to ask about that. So our listeners we have a lot of students that listen also. So talk about that process. See, that's ingenious to me, that the storyline of actually digging up real Aztec treasures when you fight a boss, how does that all play out? How do you guys do that?
Well, I mean, this was a pitch that I sent to the makers of Osmo, Tangible Play. I had this like word chain idea was something that I thought, I had sort of a back burner idea about it as like a pure software game. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw that they were looking for pitches that use their letter tiles, I thought that this is perfect, because you don't want to like necessarily remove all the tiles from the play area in order to spell a new word. So it's just logistically more comfortable to remove one letter and put in another one. Yeah. And so the gameplay idea and the usability lined up. And then I was like, we have to figure out a theme for this. We don't want it to be abstract, because most casual games are not sort of abstract that way, or it's hard to sell people on an abstract casual game. They like to have some kind of character, etc. So I don't know. I was casting about for ideas, and originally I wanted to call the game As Text. So that sort of pun historical angle. It's also, I feel like it's good to sort of put a cocktail of unrelated things, so that, I don't know, there's something for everyone to latch onto or see their interests in.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think it's great that Osmo recognized that the letter tiles themselves, at least in my experience with Osmo, there aren't a whole lot of games around the letter tiles. I mean, for those listeners who don't know, the game, the unit, the Osmo unit comes with the letter tiles. So that's already part of the package. So, and it comes with one or two of the games where you are spelling in front of the camera on the table, that kind of thing. So I think it's really cool that they recognized that they needed other things to do with the tiles, but then that you were able to come up with a really cool way to, like you said, where you don't have to scrap all the tiles every time. You are actually leaving some of the tiles on the table. The camera is looking at those and then just basically picking up the differences. I like that. I love that idea. That's very cool.
Yeah. That is really
Thanks.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really savvy of them too to say, like, we've got a bunch of great hardware that kids love playing around with. It would be good to treat it sort of like a game console and create some more software to support this hardware. So they've been great with
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Okay, so I have to ask too about, so you're a busy person. Okay, Code Combat. So you guys, that's teaching Python and Java, am I right?
JavaScript.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JavaScript and Python.
So when do you sleep exactly?
No, a lot of these things take on a life of their own. Like the Osmo project is pretty much, we now and then, but it's taken on a life of its own. Codemancer, there's the marketing team is working on their own. I have a contract programmer that helps out with stuff. So, I'm actually not, my day-to-day is not that stressful. Today might be an exception to that because I'm also moving house this month. And so I have moving things to do and meetings and this lovely podcast and all manner of things to do. But I don't find my life too strenuous, actually.
Cool.
So I'm curious though, in terms of the Code Combat side, which I've played Code Combat. I've worked I'm like you, yes, there may not be a whole lot of stress necessarily day to day, but by the same token, still, we're busy folks. But anyway, I've played through several of the first, I don't know what you call them, levels, episodes, whatever, of Code Combat, and I love it. I think it's phenomenal. So I'm kind of curious, what do you do with those folks in Code Combat? What is your contribution to what's happening with Code Combat?
Well, we're working on something new. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say much more than that.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Cool. we don't want to get you in trouble.
Expect to hear about something new. If you're a teacher who has a relationship with Code Combat out there, expect to hear some stuff from us soon about what's coming down the pipe. And if you're not a teacher who has a relationship with Code Combat, reach out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So before we let you go, because we know you're busy, so give me, for our educators listening, give us top 3 reasons why teachers should be using gaming in the classroom. Your
goodness.
Your top 3 are 3 to 5 or top 2 or your number 1, whatever makes it easier.
I just finished. We do a book club at Code Combat.
Oh, cool.
So we together just finished reading this book, What Video Games Have to Teach Us About Learning and Literacy by Jim G., which I read through before, but this was a much closer reading. But basically, what I think is great about using games in the classroom is that games, sort of well-designed games, imply a certain amount of learning, and they have learning principles built into them that are really rigorous and great. The kind of thing that you would dream of being able to do with a traditional sort of classroom activity. And I'll give you an example. So like performance before competence is a principle that Jim G outlines, where you are required to do a task before you know how to do it. And then you fail and it's fine. And then and you try again until you get better, and eventually you become competent and pass that challenge. And so being comfortable with failure and being able to try things are a principle that is so constructive, I think, and something that students really crave. Let's see, more stuff.
I didn't mean
okay, that's number 1.
Okay, I hate to put you on the spot like that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, there's communities around games that are really amazing. I mean, the word gamer is not, it's almost a bad word for me at this point, because the people who identify themselves that way are often not the greatest. But in terms of being a community of learners, they're actually really a model that we could all learn from. People putting up FAQs, making fan art and fan fiction around the games, basically like tearing them apart, doing mods. There's all kinds of learning happening in each of those communities, and they all bleed into each other. It's multidisciplinary. I'm all gung-ho about it.
Yeah.
I would say, so one of the things that I spend a lot of time thinking about is the way that games teach. That's obvious, but they tutorialize their own mechanics. So like even a game that's about shooting people in the head has to teach you about how to reload and how to aim at somebody's head, and then hold it. Like there's lots of steps to that, and the player has to learn all of those. And they typically, at this point, some games take shortcuts because there are genres where the players are expected to know these things before they start playing. But by and large, the way that games introduce their mechanics, which is sort of like a catch-all term for the things that players are allowed to do and also the consequences that those actions have, the way that those mechanics are introduced is really smart if in a well-designed game. So you'll be shown how to do something in a no stakes environment, and then you'll be given another opportunity to do it again where the stakes are smallish, where failing means you have to reset a little bit of progress, and then do or die scenarios where you have to do that skill. Right. And then once you've done that, then you've sort of demonstrated mastery in that one skill. We introduce another skill in the same way: low stakes, medium stakes, high stakes. And then we can combine those two. We can say like, oh, how do these two mechanics interact with one another? Yeah. And so on. So like it becomes a sort of combinatorial explosion of all the interactions between all the mechanics, but that's what's most interesting about them. And that's how you learn a system, and whether that system is a video game or macroeconomics or a car engine, like you have to learn what the pieces are and then how they fit together.
Right. Yeah. And I love that. It's funny. I've played a lot of games, so I've gone through a lot of tutorials. I've never really stopped and thought about the analysis, like that you've provided this analysis of the way gamers are introduced to the mechanics of the game. That's very cool. I think that's something that I'd be very interested in just kind of studying on my own, or perhaps there's other folks that, and I'm sure there are, who have already put together, studies on those things, and which games, and not just games, it could be whatever environment, but in my case, games, which games do that very well, and which ones, just kind of basically throw you into the fray and frustrate the crud out of the end user because you're so busy trying to figure out the mechanics that you can't actually accomplish whatever the goals are for that particular environment. That's you've definitely piqued an interest in me that I didn't even know I had.
And by the way, we're going to steal those sound bites. So,
but yeah, no, that's
the game that I think illustrates it really, really well is The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess for the Wii or the GameCube. Every time you get a new thing, the boomerang, the hook shot, the second hook shot, like it shows you how to use that thing in ramping up the stakes, and then it combines. So now you have to use the hook shot and your sword, or the hook shot and your boomerang. And then at the end, the final boss fight, you use absolutely everything.
Right.
In a row, you basically it's like a final exam.
Right. Follow the outline and take care of business.
That's right. You're going to demonstrate your content knowledge right here.
Exactly.
Well, cool, man.
That is awesome. Oh
so
my gosh.
I hate to be the time master here, but I want to make sure I get all this right. So Bobby Lockhart, can find you on Twitter at Bobby Locks, BOBBYLOX. You're a game designer at Code Combat. That's at Code Combat. You're the creative director for Important Games. Hold on. At Important Games.
Little Games.
Yeah. And then Codemancer is coming out soon. You can hashtag Codemancer. You can find it out there. And so that's probably the best way to get in touch with Bobby if you want to steal his ideas or suggest a game or find out, any secret sauce that's going out there for the next couple of things he's got his fingers into.
Yeah.
And I love talking to teachers. So if you want to, send me a DM through Twitter or whatever, I would love to talk to you. That's the thing that I'm always missing. I can do a lot of play testing, but I don't have time to spend a lot of time in the classroom. So
sure. Well, we'll definitely spread the word
from that.
Yeah, we'll spread it. Hey, Bobby, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've been in education for more than 20 years, and I've seen the challenges some students have to face every day. Whether it's going to school hungry or not being able to see a doctor when they're sick, these challenges can make it hard for kids to focus on learning.
Thankfully, Concordia University in Portland is leading the way with their 3 to PhD program that helps to combat student fears, freeing them to pursue their highest dreams. They're revolutionizing education by creating a holistic model that provides groceries, health care, and even clothing to students right there on campus, helping them thrive and helping our communities strengthen and grow.
Yeah, Concordia's College of Education offers online and on-campus programs where students have the opportunity to learn about a more compassionate approach to education and to see how nurturing the whole student can lead to amazing things.
You know what? To learn more about how you can help students conquer their monsters and achieve their highest dreams, visit cu-portland.edu/let's conquer. #nurture, educate, grow.
Hey, thank you so much to Bobby Lockhart, Mr. Bobby Locks, for joining us and just catching us up on all of the stuff that he's been doing. Busy man.
That's a busy man.
I don't care what he says about being. I'm like, no, you are running and gunning.
You're a busy
man.
dude. Yeah, his brain's got a lot of algorithms that I couldn't even.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm lucky to make the scientific part of my calculator work. Much less Python and JavaScript and code-mancing the code combat with the Osmo on top of it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to give that a try, though. I really do. I'm very interested to throw that up on my channel and see.
Yeah, so make
see
sure
what happens.
Yeah, and once again, if you get a chance, go find out what he's got going. You can find him, Bobby Locks, at Bobby Locks, one word, BOBBYLOX.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to Code Combat. That's Code Combat, all one word, and Important Games, all one word, at Twitter. And don't forget to look up Codemancer. It's CodemancerGame.com.
Yeah. Hey, and let us know. Jump out to EduTechGuys.com and scroll to the bottom of the form, the page there, and fill out the form. Let us know what you're doing this summer. What PD are you participating in? What are you looking forward to? What conferences are you looking forward to? And if you don't want to fill out the form, man, just hit us up on Twitter
Always.
or Instagram
or Facebook.
Exactly.
The book face.
Send us an animated GIF of whatever you're doing this summer. Well, not whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
Let's keep it family friendly.
No graphics will be shared unless they're really funny. Then we'll make a meme out of them and throw them out there.
That's right. We'll make a meme out of you.
Meme.
Wasn't it a Disney song? We'll make a meme out of you. No, let's make a man out of you. Mulan.
Oh, good reference.
Thanks.
You can sit by me. There you go. That was another.
There you go. That was.
You're welcome. You didn't see that one coming.
No, I did not.
Hey, listen, and this is some more just flagrant begging here. If you go out and listen to us on any of your favorite podcast providers, please remember to like and share and click thank you and the stars or buttons or hearts or whatever there is on that
That's right.
site.
Whatever they got, click them.
We need to bolster our confidence a little bit. So tell us how much you like the show, and like David said, always let us know what we can bring for you in the future.
Yeah.
So rest of the summer, shows coming up, and we'll probably be talking a lot about conferences and PD and what you can do to get yourself prepared over the summer to start off your next school year with a super big bang.
Exactly.
Last big bang of the year is coming up. Yeah.
I'm so sad. Ever. Not just
12 years.
Ever.
12 years of my life wasted 30 minutes at a time.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, and then in repeat on TBS and everything else.
That's right.
There's a shout out for Big Bang Theory.
Bazinga.
Hey, listen, it's been a great show.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys. EduTechGuys.com.